The president of the country tells me tonight his top priorities, or certainly one of them besides peace and stability in the country, attracting foreign investment. On November the 11th, Angola celebrates 50 years of independence from Portugal. The decades after independence, I promise you one thing, they may not agree with much together, but they'll all agree, everybody here, it's been difficult. A horrific civil war that tore through the country from 1975 until 2002. President Lourenço says the country and its economy have now, since that civil war ended, have turned the corner and made great advances.
Fortunately, we managed to overcome that long and difficult period. I can say that the most important achievement that was made over these years is the achievement of peace in April 2002. That was the biggest gain. Everything else happened as a consequence of the peaceful situation we have been living in for about 23 years.
The changes that you have made when you took office in 2017, you made a priority economic growth, and that involved fundamentally restructuring the economy, giving it more market forces, making it more capitalist, if you will. But it wasn't easy, was it?
Sim, de facto, nessa altura.
At that time, in 2017, when I took the office as president, my top priority was to establish a good business environment in order to attract good investment, both foreign and domestic. This is a process that can't be done overnight, and the results are good, and we are managing to attract important foreign investors to invest their resources in our country.
Did you find it more difficult to make the changes than you thought it would be, particularly, for example, on corruption? There's no doubt you have dramatically improved the situation. The country has risen, quite considerably, but it's been hard work, and it's been harder, perhaps, than you thought.
Sim, confirmo, portanto, de facto.
Yes, I can confirm, indeed, that the fight against corruption has proven to be more difficult than what I had imagined. Nobody wanted to lose all those privileges that, let's say, had been handed to them on a platter in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly.
So I knew that it was going to be a fight, and it is a fight. Let's remember that at that time, the law allowed for people to give back to the state assets that had been stolen. But with some expectation, hardly anyone did. So we had to let justice do its job, and it's doing it. Nonetheless, those who lost their privileges are still resisting in various forms. I believe from now on, the situation will never be the same as it was in the past, because corruption did cause a lot of havoc in our country, especially when it comes to its economic development.
Let's talk about where the country grows, because the non-oil economy, the diversification from non-oil is crucially important. And also your alliances are very important. Do you have to choose? And if you do, where is your preference between US and China?
Portanto, está a falar da.
You're talking about the need to diversify the Angolan economy. It would not rely on oil revenues only. But with regard to the partners that Angola has established in order to achieve the goal of diversifying the economy, I should say that everyone is welcome. There is no need to exclude one in order for the other to prevail. We have good relations and good economic relations with various countries, including the two countries you've mentioned, the United States and China and others. The world is not confined only to those two countries.
I figured that would be the way you would approach it. But do you have a preference? Do you have a feeling of, are you more naturally aligned to the US, Western side, or to China? Or maybe not?
Nós optamos pela.
We have opted for a market economy. When we talk about a market economy, the U.S. are its main promoters. But let me say that, and everyone today recognizes this, China is the world's factory nowadays. And being the world's factory, naturally, we should not be forced to abdicate having economic cooperation with such an important partner.
Conhece que a China hoje é a fábrica do mundo.
If we look at Africa and African trade, I have been to several conferences now, and the view is that the amount of intra-African trade needs to grow considerably. And that Africa, in some senses, is its own worst enemy. Aviation, you have to fly to Dubai to get to the other side of the continent. The customs barriers. Would you agree that more needs to be done, that African leaders need to make more fundamental changes to get the continent trading better?
Bom, para nós melhorarmos o comércio
In order for us to improve inter-Africa trade, and that is everyone's wish in our countries, we need to take care above all of something called investment in infrastructure. That's why we held here in Luanda days ago a summit of the African Union, in which the topic was precisely the mobilization of funding for infrastructures essential to the development of the continent. Therefore, in order to have trade, there needs to be mobility. We have airports, ports, railways that connect to other countries, and highways.
Portanto, para haver comércio,
We have to invest in all of this in energy production infrastructures, not just for each country individually, but so that one country can produce and supply to 3 or 4 other countries.